My name is Marina Nikitina. Topic of my report, Knowledge-Based System and the Development of Dietotherapy. I work at the Gorbachev Federal Research Center for Food Systems of Russian Academy of Sciences. Gorbachev Research Center for Food Systems was organized in 2017 on the basis of the Gorbachev Meat Research Institute, having the 19-year history. The center units 11 research institutes with different directions of the food industry. The report presents an analysis of scientific research in the fields of nutrition. For a differentiated and individual approach to nutrition, a knowledge-based system of dietotherapy is offered. The information basis of the system is structural-parametric models of nutrition of a particular person and consists of three main blocks: patient's physiological state, diet indicators, environment factors. Each individual block has its own parameters and attributes. Thus, the patient's physiological state block includes age, gender, alphametric data, etc. Knowledge in the system of dietotherapy is organized in the form of a set of production rules, if-then. Using them, it's possible to make an assumption about the nutrition system, high, moderate, low, of the patient with a certain degree of confidence. There is an algorithm for identifying the state of human health to determine patient's needs for proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. The calculation is based on patient's physiological parameters and indicators of external factors: prognostic risk index, mean energy exchange, actual energy consumption. A study by the Division of Nutrition and Physical Activity of the National Center for the Prevention of Chronic Diseases and the Center for Health Promotion for Disease Control and Prevention notes that improper, poor nutrition and lack of physical activity cause from 310,000 to 580,000 deaths per year and are the main causes of diabetes, osteoporosis, obesity, and cerebral thrombosis. When recommending a particular diet, a dietitian should use not only biochemistry data, protein, carbohydrate, and lipid status, immune indicators, biochemical blood analysis, physiology data, body weight, deficit, excess, activity factor, etc., food hygiene, volume, weight, consistency, and temperature of food, but also take into account individual parameters, age, alphametric, and calorimetric data. In this regard, the problem of dietotherapy can be solved with the help of the knowledge-oriented system of dietotherapy, which will help the doctor to quickly and accurately design a diet for the patient, taking into account the state of her nutrition, individual characteristic, gender, age, nutritional status, content of macro and micronutrition, as well as many external factors. The development of the knowledge-oriented system is associated with the accumulation of knowledge database containing bases, concepts, and relations between them, region of residence, activity factor, injury factor, surgeries, bone fractures, traumatic brain injuries, current nutritional status, alphametric data, calorimetric indicators, indicators of trophological status, indicators of macro and micronutrition status, indicators of vitamin status, as well as a database of chemical composition, protein, moisture, fat, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, physiological properties, nutritional, biological and energy values, and other characteristics of food products. These data and knowledge database are presented in the form of structural and parametric matrices of relations. combining three main blocks: patient's physiological state, diet indicators, environmental factors, as well as many relations within the blocks and between the blocks and groups. Each individual block has its own parameters and attributes. For example, the block patient's physiological state includes age, gender, anthropometric data, body weight, height, body mass index, shoulder circumference, calorimetric indicators, fat content, skin fold thickness 2 cm above the umbilicus, skin fold thickness above the biceps, etc. Expert estimates correlation, simple and multiply regression coefficients, influence estimates found as a result of an active experiment, as well as possible functions, ratios, and conversation algorithms can be used as formalized characteristic of relations between the parameters of the structural parametric characteristic matrices. The slide shows a fragment of the model with the most related factors, with the characteristic of relations marked with dots. The search for influence coefficients in the form of comparable quantitative characteristic is carried out by well-known methods of expert assessments, regression analysis, and experimental planning, depending on the degree of priori ideas about the physical laws of relations between state indicators. Initially found coefficients of influence can be refined and supplements in the course of operation of the medical nutrition system by statistical processing of observation results. One of the most important functions of the dietotherapy system is associated with accumulation of knowledge with the formalization of experience of a doctor specializing in dietotherapy. On the slide presents the algorithm for finding solutions in the knowledge-oriented dietotherapy system is associated with the diagnostic of human health. See Figure 1, and includes a calculation based on patient's physiological parameters xi and indicators of external factors xp, prognostic risk index, mean energy exchange, actual energy expenditure. The diagnostic procedure consists in the search for deviations of health indicators from the FAO/WHO standards delta XII change from 1 to n, information of structural and parametric situational model of the current state of human health by multiplying the deviation vector delta xi by the relation matrix VL ij change from 1 to n. Further, the diagnostic procedure is reduced to a cyclic process of moving along the diagonal of the situational matrix and comparing values of diagonal elements with the reference standard values. If there is a deviation delta xk, the kth line should be reviewed with the registration of direct causes VL ij delta xk ijk change from 1 to n of this deviation and formation of the counter of relations of elements included in the interaction trajectory. Branches of the concept of relations are stored in a separate array representing numbers of elements that are included in the indication trajectory. If at least two elements of the number array match, the last link of the concept of relations is artificially broken and the movement along the line continues until the identification of the final cause. After finding original causes of the abnormal condition of the patient, the doctor prescribes the appropriate diet and dietary regime aimed at minimizing the influence of original causes of the person's abnormal conditions. In general, the dietotherapy system is intended to serve as an assistant to a doctor, dietitian, gastroenterologist, etc., who is not a narrow specialist in this subject area. The report presents a mathematical approach to the identification of the state of human health. The intellectual basis is a knowledge base in the form of structural and parametric matrices of relations that combine three main blocks: patient's physiological state, diet indicators, environmental factors, as well as many connections within the blocks and between the blocks and groups. The organization of knowledge is presented in the form of a set of production rules. If, then, as a result of diagnosis, the identification algorithm is used to find the causes of the patient's abnormal conditions associated with the excess or lack of certain food nutrients. Thank you for your attention.